Tonight, a Cleveland Heights man wants something done once and for all after not one, but two cars crashed into his front yard just over the weekend.
Our Isabel Lawrence spoke with the man today, and Isabel, you learned that this is not the first time he's had these kinds of problems.
Yeah, unfortunately not. The homeowner tells me cars wreck outside his home, just all too familiar of a sight. And while the city has taken steps to keep him safe, he wants to see more permanent solutions.
I was inside watching TV. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and I heard a sadly now familiar crunching sound.
John Gall was home in Cleveland Heights Friday when he saw this out the window. A car crashed on his property at the intersection of Fairmount Boulevard and South Taylor Road. Then, later that weekend, Gall noticed signs of another crash.
The rock had moved, the other rock had moved. There's debris on the lawn and a tire in the tree lawn. And
the rocks he's talking about are these two boulders, placed on his front yard by the city of Cleveland Heights to protect his home. These two crashes aren't the first or the worst at Gall's property. Just look at this crash last July before the boulders. Gall losing his car and his garage.
We placed the boulders there out of an immediate concern for his safety. And then figuring out what comes next is a more difficult conversation.
The mayor of Cleveland Heights says the city is willing to work with Gall to find a solution, but he says options like speed bumps or extending the median would negatively impact traffic flow in the area.
Our expectation is that in an ongoing way we can figure out how to inhibit reckless driving that occurs throughout our city, especially in that location. But it is very difficult when somebody is dedicated to going 80 miles an hour down a 25-mile-an-hour road to inhibit them in that activity.
The mayor says looking at the recent crashes, the boulders did have an impact on the safety of Gall and his home, while Gall says the boulders aren't a sufficient solution.
I want something done. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having cars on my lawn.
Well, you may be wondering about guardrails. Well, Gall says there was a guardrail at the house when he moved in years ago. He says during some road construction, the guardrail was removed and never replaced. However, the mayor says they have no record of that guardrail and also says that putting a guardrail outside of Gall's home would be against regulation and would be ineffective, saying guardrails are not meant to protect against head-on collisions.
Okay. Isabel Lawrence with us here in the studio. Thank you.